Hey guys, welcome back to the Inside Outside podcast. And now I want to tell you guys, if you like our opinion and you want to ask us questions, we are live on Twitch. And so we're going to be doing both now so that we're finally get double the exposure. Zero people are going to view this stream. But luckily for you, I have farmed Ahmed on the stream. So I have just two viewers, myself and Ahmed. I don't even know if I count as a view. But yeah, man, welcome back, guys. And so what are we talking about today, Ahmed?
Let's talk about the ROI per view.
Okay, two things. First, before we talk about that,
Okay,
something
that's
I forgot.
actually covered some
Yeah.
substance.
So,
That's horrible. Yeah.
our really good friend, Mark Carney, a very good friend of ours. And so, pretty much
Mhm.
what happened was, Mark Carney, our boy, he has his budget has passed. So, two MPs from the NDP set have agreed to his budget. So, guess what? It has gone through. So now there is no more issue with the budget. It is going through. We're going to see exactly what the outcomes is of this election, of this bill passing. So yeah, man. Again, bill is very expensive. However, it's going to be the question of, is it more costly to not do business for the future and not keep reinvesting by the time USMA comes due next year? Because a lot of people think, oh, it's going to be renewed. I don't think so. I think there are going to be portions, like, for example, oil and gas is a necessity for the U.S., and energy is also a necessity for the U.S., of course, right? But, what is USMA going to reply all the other stuff? Like, there's 95% of Canada's trade is tax-free, relatively. And so there's only 5% that's taxed, but the 5% is tax is heavy. But the other 95% makes up a majority as well. So it's questions to ask, and it's an interesting idea. But yeah, man, the pretty much what point I wanted to ask you was this: do you know Alberta is maxed out right now for the amount of power grid you had? So we approved, I believe, 3 to 5 projects of data centers that are being built in that are being built.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have 3 to 5 data centers that are being built right now, and there's 30 more in commission. So 30 more data centers want to be built. However, we don't even have the data capacity or the energy capacity to host them.
Interesting. So we're reaching a bottleneck when it comes to energy for those
Mm-hmm.
databases. Kevin O'Leary is one of the investors in this, and I've heard him express interest in cheap oil from Alberta. How do you think that reflects on our economy? I know we're part of Canada, but from what I've heard, we're almost separate from the other provinces. There's almost a separation.
Yo, did you
Although,
subscribe to my channel?
let me subscribe real
Fake
quick here.
one, bro. That's why you can't trust the homies.
Where do I subscribe? I see.
I have
Follow.
no
Let me
idea, buddy.
follow.
This is the first time I've ever even used Twitch.
Okay, I just subscribed.
Oh, thank you, thank
Hopefully,
you.
it is. Yeah, we want to
All right,
push the
I
algo in a
think we got
positive
our
direction.
first subscriber. All right, definitely did not farm this view.
Feel free to clip us. Make clips. And post them on that. I forget what
Yeah,
platform it is, but
Brown.
we want to get any. We want good publicity and bad publicity. So, Rav, feel free to completely throw us off.
Yeah, man.
Um,
But yeah, man. What else is up with you, buddy? Today you were talking about time management. All right, are you good at time management or you're bad?
I think you need to have both good and bad, and find the perfect middle. I think that I'm more so to the bad side, but I'm relatively moving in a magnitude to the good side. So as long as I keep showing up on time and prove to myself, yeah, that's the only person I'm challenging right now is myself. I'm in
Yeah.
competition with myself.
Well, we're at 16 episodes, man. You gotta have credit for yourself. For 2 weeks fully, we've done this pretty much back to back, right? There's been only a couple of days where we missed, and it's been for stuff out of our control. Obviously, we have families. We have to go to the gym. All right, how else is Ahmed gonna keep that juicy stash of his looking good with his physique? But it's definitely a time-consuming thing. However, it's a definitely a well worth endeavor in my opinion, because what I think that people need to understand is everything starting off is very difficult, right? Time management is
Yes.
difficult, and it's not an easy trait, right? And it's very easy to get locked on in something you really like. I think video games is something like this. As I noticed, don't get me wrong, I love video games. It was one of my favorite things I used to do when I was a kid. Playing Assassin's Creed, playing Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies, man, that excuse me, those were fire days in middle school.
Mhm.
But understanding that if you want to keep playing them and you want to play with them without any restrictions, first you got to make the money so you can play for them, right? It's
Yes.
easy. It's
Yes.
easy in middle school to do it when your parents are paying for everything. But if you got a life, buddy, you gotta commit.
video games do have value, but
100%.
you really have to you'd have to squeeze you have to squeeze a lot of them to get one dropout. Okay, let's just be very quantitative with this. One of the games that I think can be squeezed metaphorically like a lemon, you get a drop out of it. Um, is
Call of
role
Duty.
playing games. The reason being is I want to put this forth: is video games are very good, but being strategic about what you do and what you do with your time is what Rav is talking about. And the recursive pattern of going and playing games every day is not going to be the best thing for your future self. You're almost taking on too much debt. Time is money, and you will never pay that back in an effective way. What you want to do is strategize. You're young. That comes with predispositions. You have to know thyself and know the enemy, and the enemy can be thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Rav, would you like to continue on the subject?
So video games are interesting. I think because you hear like Elon Musk is top tier in the video game. Then you hear some people saying that he's not what it is. Like again, to me, it's just you have you heard of that? Like he's not. He hires
Yeah,
somebody to play with him.
I've watched him play video games too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Thing
don't
is,
think he's good. He pays someone to play and act like it's him.
yeah. Well, regardless if he does or not, he's a very interesting guy, right? But I think it goes to show like running businesses is hard, but you still have time for your day to day, right? You're never going to meet somebody who's truly working 24 hours in a day because you have to sleep, you have to eat, you have to take a poop, you have to do your stuff. And man, you can add video games because everybody needs a downtime, right? I really do think, like recently, Alex Hormozy, as somebody you're very familiar with, Alex Hormozy, I love his stuff. He's one of the best creators, in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic human being. Again, in my opinion, you may dislike him, but I think he gives out very solid advice. But
No, he's a piece of shit. You know that? I'm just kidding. Love Alex Hormozy.
yeah, bro. But I
Valuable.
honestly can't relate to somebody as more as I can relate to him. And sometimes I
Yeah.
don't even want to watch his video because I'm like, God damn, man, he's gonna say all the right stuff that I need to hear right now, but I don't want to hear it. And but I do it anyway, right? It's a discipline. The thing is,
I see what you're saying, yeah.
yeah, the thing is that Alex Hormozy, does is he's very hyperactive to this, but it doesn't mean he doesn't do anything else. I look at how jacked he is, right? He works out really, really really difficult. Obviously, you have to do it to
Yeah.
maintain the muscle, and especially getting to that
Yeah.
position. And all of his business have
There's
something
stuff you cannot fake. Yeah, I love that.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? And so it goes to show that you could still commit to more and more things, but it's like how you said, it's time versus value, right? So if
Time
you're
money value.
exactly right, and for games, it's very hard to get a good ROI. It's more so for less stress free. Like with books as well, the ROI on books also is better than it's better than video games. But if you don't act
No,
upon what you
that's not even a conversation.
yeah, but
I mean, that to be honest with you, like books are such a compressed version of who's writing them, and it's not only compressed; it's like the good parts of them. They the people that author these books put a lot of time and effort into depicting whatever narrative is in there, and it's like 1,000 times more valuable for your time to go read a book. Rav is someone to speak on this because he reads how many books a year?
a lot, man. I try to read 100, 200 books a year. And that sounds like a book a day, but I have dyslexia. So, like, I don't really read a book, but I listen to audiobooks. And to be honest, it's the exact same in my opinion, from being able to capture knowledge. Usually it's better, right? It's like a storytelling. Like, have you, when you're kids, I don't, obviously we're different. We're browns. We're not whites, and so our parents may have not read to us when we were sleeping. But like, I think there's a reason why people talk about stories, right? Like when you hear it from somebody, it's very very telling. You can really feel the emotion. I rank books really really high, but like my most high thing that that I rank is podcasts. The reason why is I think we had this conversation a few days back, but in a podcast, no one can BS. It's very easy to BS for half an hour. It's very hard to BS over 3 hours. It's very difficult,
No,
right?
trust me, I could BS you guys all day. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I can
But yeah,
BS you
continue
every
on.
day.
He's definitely right. Empirically, you can't really talk about something in depth if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
And it makes it difficult. But so I want people to understand that that the podcasts, in my opinion, are the best, right? So whenever you want to learn about politics, whenever you want to learn about anything that's related, the best area is a direct conversation. So I would rank meeting the person and talking to them head to head number one.
Yeah.
Excuse me, podcast number two. And then I'll say books. Books are number three. And then video games and stuff like that. You can, like, again, it's very difficult to get a video game that's really going to teach you, like you can learn something, right? You learn compassion.
It's
You
very
can learn,
small value.
yeah.
And especially in role playing games.
But what
One of the
knowledge
games
will you
that
learn,
my
right?
friend
That's the
here
question.
I love how much cap you can say on live stream, Rav,
Hmm.
because there's a video game. You could label it whatever you want that you beat me at, and I'm holding a grudge.
Yeah,
Called
that
chess.
yes, chess is good for
Now, games with strategy, completely different compartment, right?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I'm a
Yes,
fan.
very
Not of
true.
you. Okay, maybe of you, but like,
But
sure.
so it's a very true, man. You
Yeah.
actually, you actually kind of dismantled my entire argument. For strategy
No, no,
games,
no. I
yes.
didn't. I didn't. I'm complimenting it because
No, no, no.
trust me,
It was good. It was good because
Magnus
I
said
didn't
it's
even think. Yeah.
the greatest chess player, maybe not of all time, but like one of the greats.
In my opinion, yes, the
He
greatest.
said that if people understood the proportion of intellect that is required to operate at a high level within the strategic game of chess, they would not have a very good They would not have a good understanding of his reputation. They would not hold him to high regard. That's what he said,
Yeah,
and I
like
trust
direct
him.
words from the
He's
go, right?
definitely,
No, and it's very true.
yeah,
It's pattern recognition, right? Now, thing is, when
yeah,
you're
yeah.
really, really good at pattern recognition like this, where you're able to predict, it really does help you in the rest of your life, right? Because
It does.
strategy exactly does. So, so it is very, very solid that way, and like you have to be able
Where
to
does it
think,
fall
right?
apart? My question is to really get what the users want to hear right now. Where does it fall apart?
It falls
I would-
apart when you're
Yes.
not learning anything from it anymore. So here's the thing: if you play chess
Yes.
on a oh, I'm just gonna verse my buddy, or I'm just gonna play my friend, and or you're gonna
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
Monopoly, right? Like even in Monopoly, you can kind of say it's like that game because like what's the thing in Monopoly?
That's
The
true.
person who
That's true.
wins is the person who has all the property, right? So you're like, oh wait,
Yeah.
there's a life lesson in that, right? But how many
There
times
is. There is.
have you played Monopoly? And people are like, "Oh, I learned some knowledge from this today." Like, not a lot, right? Because people are not playing it for the knowledge basis, right? I think you have to, if you want to do
Yeah.
something very well, you have to actively be engaged. I multitask a lot, and I know for a fact that if I multitask, I retain set 50 to 75% only. I won't retain 100%. Not if I'm completely focused on a subject. Now, 50
Yeah.
to 75% is actually really, really good and allows me to do two things at the same time. But there are just some components like, and this is what I'm saying is when you talk direct one-to-one person, you can't multitask. It's very difficult. Then you have a particular conversation in a subject and you can get a lot of nuance from it.
Yeah.
When you speak to for example, when you're on the phone, I'm talking about direct, then it's a little bit more disconnected, right? You could go on Instagram, you could go on whatever the hell else you want to do, and now it's more
Mm.
disconnected, right? So you're not fully engaged in the conversation. And then you can talk about email, or you can talk about text messages, and you're fully disengaged, right? You're gonna be doing something throughout the middle of it, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure, I'm sure everybody can relate to. Do you know when you were talking to a girl or when you're talking to a dude? I'm joking. We're talking to a girl or a guy, and
Yeah.
you're really engaged in the conversation, and so you don't even leave the
Yeah.
screen, right? You don't even leave the screen. You're just texting back and
Yeah.
forth, like response after response. And think about how that makes you feel. You're super engaged. You're happy most of the time. You might be
I
mad
think
half
that
the time, but you're not
I
able.
think that you're describing a certain archetype that exists definitely, but it's not the majority.
No, but
No.
being disconnected is very easy, and I just don't think if you want to rationally do something, you can be
Yeah.
disconnected. If you want to be the best at something, you can't be multitasking, right? So I listen to a podcast, and usually when I listen to a podcast, to be honest, I go on my phone.
Not necessarily. It depends on the reference point. If you're suggesting that multitasking is the task that we're measuring, then multitasking is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So men and women differ, and I read this in a book on psychology. Women are actually better at multitasking. I'm not sure if this data has completely been changed and proven wrong, but from what I understood, the source I'm using is a authentic source in literature, psychological origin, psychology, and the person who wrote it is actually knows what they're saying because they went to a university and proved it. No one else would read the book if this was the case. But they said that women are actually better at multitasking and men are more likely to do a task one at a time. But then there's more other research that's contradictory, but we'll unpack that later or at another time. Um, I think what the viewer really wants to hear, Rav, and I really want to hear your opinion on, is how do you measure excellence within the cognitive context? How do decision? How do people within let's say a business play roles? Much like video games, people play roles. Some people are very, very charismatic, yet they lack in the logical sense when it comes to finances. That's why CTO complements them. What kind of pattern in archetype in can you see that is of high high caliber people?
So You make a very, very good. You ask a very good question here. I relate it back to what I've seen in my life. And
Yeah,
in my life, the most fantastic people that I have met and that I have seen is somebody who's really able to put a lot of focus into something for a extended
yeah,
period of time. That's literally the differences. Like here's what I'm trying to say. When there's a guy who's in the trucking business and his name's Sunny
yeah.
and he knows and so he has a Lamborghini, he has a Ferrari. This guy's made it in life. He's on the older side now, but he's made a great life for himself and he's still killing it, making he just bought a club, I believe, and then he bought an apartment building too. Man has a abundance of money. And so uh, here's the thing I want to say. When I ask him any question on trucking, the guy has an answer. It's not like, oh, you have to ask my employee, because he has a lot of employees obviously working for him, right? But he knows the ins and outs of the business. And
Yes.
what I'm trying to say is, when the only time you're going to truly succeed or become the best at something is when you know every single component that's involved in the process. Elon Musk, in the book Elon Musk, which is
I think
a documentary about his life.
I hate to cut you off, but you'll never know everything about any subject.
Yeah,
Period.
yes,
One of the things
but you
that people
keep
do that read a
learning.
lot of books, someone that reads a lot of books, is that you realize one of the realizations is as you start to learn ideas is that you know nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the smartest people are the people who usually say I don't know anything, right? And the people who usually
Exactly.
have overconfidence say I know everything.
The person that holds that opinion that I know nothing, when you talk to him, he resembles or emulates what Rav said.
Hmm.
You ask them any question, they know the nuance.
But I when I
But
relate this to
they always operate from I don't know.
yeah,
So therefore, I will find
I
information.
relate this to Elon, right? Because in his book, he would when he first started with SpaceX, and even as he
Yeah,
was growing up, and even Tesla as it was growing his business, he'd ask engineer why are we doing things this way. One of the famous things that he had asked for was so the bottom of the car took a very long time to put together because it needs so many screws, so there's so many components, right? So he just
yeah.
asked the engineer, and again, guys, feel free to correct me, but in the book, this is exactly how it's stated: is why can't we just build the whole base and just put it on? Right? He asked that question. And the engineer
Yeah.
said, I don't know. You just can't do it. And Elon was like, what kind of answer is this? So do you know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. Pretty much the reason why you can't do it is because no company made casting that large. So then he went to the company and said, hey, I need you to make us custom casting for this. And they did.
Yes.
And so then it saved them days because now it was just one component put on instead of having to put on six different components at the same time. And it was the night and difference, right? And this was before, like one of the reasons why Tesla jumped up in
Big
price was
difference, yes.
it beat earnings and it beat the amount of cars it sold. A lot of people said it can't sell this many cars because it can't build it this fast. But Elon Musk was able to prove it wrong because efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. But the only reason you learn this is because you learn nuances about the business, right? You may not know everything, right? I tracked from my last statement, but you learn as much as you can learn and you continue to learn, right? And that's the whole
Yes.
purpose on it, right? So the most successful
Yeah.
people that I've said, even like in sports, what do you think about Messi and Ronaldo, right? Do you think these guys just don't study the game? When you talk to the chess players on we were just bringing up our boy, the best chess player in the world. But do you know what he said in his interviews?
What did he say?
Like before he fights somebody in chess, he just keeps watching their play. He just keeps watching their games.
Yeah, yeah.
They study chess games in order to get ready for a chess match. So he knows how this person thinks, what they do, and this is what they consistently do, right? So even in sports, the people who usually are the best are the people who study. They check the play, they study the play. Even in MMA, one of the things you do is you look at tape. And what they mean is when they say look at tape is they watch
Okay.
past fights of the person. They see, oh, what does this
Yeah.
guy do with his left arm? What does he do with his right? What are the new
Mhm.
what the nuances of everything? And the best people are
Oh,
the people who are obsessed. So I guess that slimmed down in our 90-minute video so far is the best people are the people who are obsessed.
so a lot of not perfect. A lot of things that align with this thesis are things like the marshmallow test. If you're not familiar, I'll break it down really quickly.
I don't
Um,
think I've ever heard of a
and
marshmallow test, so you had time to educate me.
interesting. I think you'll enjoy this. Here, listen to this. So, uh, they put they put kids in a room and they put a marshmallow in front of them and they said that one of the parents told them that um, I'm going to leave. Don't eat
Oh
the marshmallow.
yes, or then you get another one. Oh yeah, okay, I know this one.
Okay, so I have a
Mm.
feeling you knew this.
No, no,
I feel
but
like
stage fright. It's a
so
beautiful one. It's a beautiful one. I've definitely the teachable moment.
a simplistic interpretation of the study is that the kids that did not eat the marshmallow are successful because they can um,
Wait.
they can be disciplined and wait. But a more nuanced interpretation of the same study is that they had methodologies and techniques to busy themselves. They counted on their fingers. They talked to themselves. Those kind of things are what made them succeed. And later on in life, these numbers empirically play out. What I mean by that, people that did not eat the marshmallow became successful because they understood this at a very young age, and that obviously becomes a tool of theirs in the future, and it increases the probability of success. And it was such a substantial empirical observation that it was like an 80% likelihood, which is very
Which
skewed
makes sense, right?
towards.
Like I want
Yeah.
to add to that because it's beautiful, but truthfully, uh, that's another component of it, right? It's not just people who are obsessed, but it's people who are willing to wait, right? You're a big fan of our boy Rockefeller, okay? He created Standard Oil, one of the biggest companies. I know what
Not
you're
a
gonna say.
fan,
Okay, not a fan, but you are. No, would you say he is one of the best businessmen
the
of all
whole
time?
someone that has given me a more nuanced interpretation of Rockefeller is Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich.
Hmm.
I definitely, yeah.
So
You could share
one of
more
the
about
things
your
I'll tell you
perspective.
about Rockefeller is he was undetermined with winning and being obsessed with oil. So, like for example, most
Yes,
people worried about the price of crude oil. This guy did not care. He borrowed as much debt as he could because he understood that he would buy his oil more expensive, more cheaper. It doesn't matter how the market was. He would sell his oil cheaper just so his competition could keep enlarged because he wanted to destroy his competition. And Standard Oil, because like back in the day, guess what, guys? Monopolies, they were not too big of an issue. So Standard Oil bought up pretty much every single company could get its hands on, and they would just keep borrowing debt. He would just keep borrowing debt in order to do it. But the interpretation of this is he would continue to anytime he was trying to do an acquisition of another company, and he was trying to fight that company, he would just make his price so cheap in oil that he would lose money on every transaction, so that the next guy would be bleeding as well. I think I told you the quote last time. But
you're getting into game theory
exactly,
again.
and
Game theory.
I think I told you quote last time, but the quote was
Yeah, what's the
that
quote?
always buy when there's blood on the streets, even if it's your own blood, and that's what he was doing. He was literally letting the competition bleed dry, and then he was buying it for cheap. But the reason why he was willing to do this was he knew that the rewards today are cheaper and less valuable than the rewards tomorrow. He was willing to lose money so that he
A
would get the
perfect analogy.
he would get the long benefit.
Not a perfect analogy, but an analogy is a game called Slither.io. You
Okay,
played
man,
Slither.io?
best analogy in the world. Okay.
You're a little worm, and you exist in a bordered land, space, and there's bigger worms, and the bigger worms have eaten more little food things that pop up in the game. And the game, you're supposed to cut off one of the big worms, blow them up, and eat it.
I
Isn't it?
remember this
You
game.
want
I was
to?
playing it in high school.
I remember. I like that game too. But it resembles the situation here because one of the things that you can do, one of the abilities, is you press shift and you move quicker. But when you move quicker, you lose these little orbs that represent food. So you'll get smaller as a byproduct of moving quicker.
Algaro or something like that. I think it started with an A.
Slytherin. Slytherin.
Ah, do you remember
There's
the
another
ball
one
one?
where
The
you're a
ball
bubble.
one?
There's a
Yeah,
bubble.
yeah.
Yeah. That one's the earlier one, but Slytherin was the evolution of that. Um, but when you're operating in game theory, I think one of the things that is the first thing that you're going to think about is, are you cooperating with somebody else? Now you froze on my screen in a state eating an apple, but that's irrelevant. Back to the game theory subject. One of the things that I feel like we do typically when we look at individuals by themselves and assess their success is we neglect the impact that others have on their success. One of the things that you need to do if you're strategizing anything, and you might think that you're not in the game of in a game, you're not within the parameters of strategizing, but you are. One of the most simple strategies you could do is be friends with 5 people that are um, resemble the things that
Success.
are in line with your goals. And so what you want to do is spend time around those people because they impact you.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I really want to highlight here is, much like you put Rockefeller on the podium here and we assessed him. There's a lot of components, people that were in his life that has impacted him in becoming successful. I want to put Elon Musk on the podium here. Who do you think had impacts on him? And his first company was called XPay
Mm-hmm.
and turned into PayPal. Who do you think? And it's kind of easy when you correlate
That
them.
wasn't his first company. It was the
What was the
next
first
company
company?
he made.
Second company? It
It
was
was second
XPay.
company. It was second company. Yeah.
What was the first time company he
The
made? What do
first
you make?
company was just internet dictionary that he sold. It made no money, but somebody bought it for like $27 million.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no! Oh my God, 27 million.
Yeah, so here's the story. So pretty much, Elon Musk made it like
You told me this.
yeah, even like he put fake servers just showing random code in the thing so it looked like it was more valuable, right? At that time,
Proofing.
companies were just buying anything that had .com behind it so that they could get a part of
Oh
the
my God.
.com.
Yeah. Basically, in today's age, he did the equivalent of going on Pump Fund, making a meme coin, and then liquidating everybody else. Um, I hope to God I could do it. No, actually, my goals are different. I think when you put the goal in your mind to make as much money as possible, you could frame that as success. But I think success is beyond money. I think success is correlated with intellect, and I like how you were talking about modalities and different archetypes and how they think. And one of the things I wanted to mention was one of the patterns that you see amongst highly intelligent, very very successful people is they observe their own thoughts from an outsider perspective. Hence the Outsider podcast. I'm just kidding. Nothing to do with Outsider podcast side, um, but they're able to understand their own thought process from a perspective of different. Like this is a statement that's not my own. This is in the psychological literature that I saw on literature I saw in psychology.
Kumbacha.
And one of the best measurements of intellect is being able to have the life that you want. Putting together systems, strategizing, having friends, so on. Put things in place, organize them in a way that you achieve whatever goal you have in mind. Elon Musk, honestly, I don't think is focused on money.
No, not at his
He's
point.
he's focused on space, spacing out, complete. I'm just kidding, not spacing out, but you get the idea.
You
Electric cars, Mars, space travel, Mars. He wants to leave the planet, and he's all about this thing that is gonna catch you guys off guard. And Rav has mentioned this in the other podcasts, and I guarantee you, after I say this, Rav is gonna be like, "Here's my thesis," and I want you to
here's
listen.
my thesis. Let me get on my tinfoil hat.
So Mars, 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 and Mars, and the Mars bars. And you get to space, you go to Mars, and you leave the planet. You become an society that is. Go ahead, Rav.
You pretty much reach another level in society. You become an
Next.
interplanetary. All right. Elon Musk is a
Harmony.
I think at some point it's legacy, right? Like, I think,
This guy is like, no offense to any Christians, he's like the new Jesus.
bro. Let
He's
me
like,
let me tell you something,
he
bro.
sacrifices everything. He
Yeah,
cries on camera.
bro. He
He
does.
cries on. He doesn't care.
But the thing with Elon Musk is,
Yeah.
it's very true. So he just excuse me, sorry, a lot of kombucha.
God, you've ruined the whole podcast.
Shit. But all right, so
Put bad publicity in the comments, please. Put L's
hey,
for
we're trying
Rav.
to be real, okay? People burp in real life, okay? All right, people got indigestion in their stomachs, okay? Indigestion. All right, but thing with your boy Elon, it's so interesting. Like what you have to understand, what motivates a man like that, right? What motivates somebody to want to just listen to a bunch of people talk shit over IG, over Instagram, or over sorry, not Instagram, over X, and
Twitter.
like why does somebody do it, right? But then there's a lot of men who have a lot of money. Like Jeff Bezos is kind of living his best life. He left his CEO position. He's kind of vibing now on random yachts, super yachts. Everybody's getting triggered about how big his yachts are. And that's all he does, man. The homie just chills with yachts. So then why is Elon Musk a little different, right? And the thing is, I think having multiple millions, especially when you're early 20s, and that you build relatively yourself, is a very, very different. So I think he ran out of the abundance of money, of needing money very quickly, right? He's never been in a broke position.
That rug pull he pulled off, amazing.
Yeah, and then the thing is, it's not like he never needed money. Like obviously, when he was running Tesla and it was running to the ground, and SpaceX was running to the ground, he needed money for funding. So it's not that he doesn't have money or that he's not in the necessity of money. It's just at this moment in time, he has so much money that you ask yourself, what inspires you? Like Ahmed, if I give you a credit card and you'll never run out of money for the rest of your life,
Let me restate this.
what are you gonna do?
I love what you're saying, but I feel like there's just one missing spice.
What was this place?
You're making a soup right now, and there's just one missing spice. There's a certain threshold that you get to with financial success that you do not see an appreciation of quality
Yeah,
of
you
living.
want power.
So you reach like 30 mil. Who gives a shit if you have another million?
Yeah, but
I would.
even Elon Musk.
I'm a greedy bastard, but
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
even Elon. Oh, it's all good. Even Elon Musk, when he was when after he sold his business, he bought a really nice car. I think it was a Ferrari or maybe a Porsche. Can't remember what it was, but it was a very
Fucking
nice
idiot,
car,
dude.
right? And then he was traveling as well. He got married. He was traveling, got big rings and chill. And even like before he got, I guess like he was still mega rich. Like he was one of the richest
See,
people in the world. He wanted to build.
in my opinion, he lacks success. A bunch of failed marriages. What a failure. Elon, if you hear me, I'm calling you out.
Yeah, but he wanted to build a dream home before. Even in the book, it said it. He wanted to literally build the
that was
most.
hugging him. I saw the video where he's buying a car, super expensive car. She's hugging him. She left.
Yeah, but even the biggest business in the entire world, he wanted to build one of the best houses in the entire world, like all futuristic and shit. But then he stopped, and now he doesn't. He has no care in the world for houses. He has no care in the world for cars, right? He's just a fucking random guy at this moment in time. But guys, we're at 32 minutes, and so we're gonna let it go now. This was kind of a more of just yeah. We'll go. We'll talk.
Really, and just so we don't end off on like a Hollywood show where it's like, or like no, like an anime where it's like next episode.
Next episode, cliffhanger.
What was Elon Musk meditating? What kind of mushrooms was he ingesting? What kind of hallucinogenics? Because he's obsessed with Mars. He's obsessed with pushing us into alien territory, like the advanced alien society territory, where we are. What are we? We're fucking
Multiplanetary species.
One of the things that he was developing was a payment system called PayPal, and his co-founders called Peter Thiel. So whatever mushroom Peter Thiel was on, I think he shared it with Elon.
Elon.
I'm going to say this one. I'm going to drop this. It's going to be bars. It's going to be like literal gold bars. If you listen to me, my face just went serious. You haven't noticed. He's obsessed with XLM stellar lumens. Because stellar lumens is an interplanetary payment system. Unpack that later. Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. We talked about mushrooms. Next episode. Do you want to wrap it up, man? What do you think about the cryptocurrency? Because I love crypto, and I had to put that in there. You have to add.
All right, guys. Bitcoin's gonna be saved. Okay, don't you fucking worry. All right, don't you worry at all. All right, if you hold Bitcoin, you'll be fine. If you hold ETH,
no, Bitcoin's garbage. Bitcoin's garbage. It was the beta
our
test.
boy does not agree.
XLM.
No financial advice, by the way. All right, please don't do
no financial advice. No financial advice.
All right,
I will say this: X marks the spot. Twitter changed to X. XRP. XLM. You will watch this in like 2029, and
bro, it's gonna be Dogecoin, bro. I'm telling you, it'll be Dogecoin.
The next Elon Musk. No, it's not. I guarantee you, it's not
Dogecoin. Elon Musk likes Dogecoin too much, bro.
X.
There was a brief period of time where you could buy a Tesla with Dogecoin.
I saw that. He's a liar.
Actually, don't say that, buddy. This guy has a Starlink. He'll find your ass in 2 seconds.
You know what Elon's gonna do? He's gonna turn on one of his satellites and zap me out of existence. He's like,
yo, where did our boy go? All right, but guys, have a great rest of your day. I hope we didn't get any viewership on stream, but that's completely fine. We were very much expecting this. I just wanted to point it out there because guess what? When we have a million people watching our stream, I'm gonna remote back to this. All right, so the day ones will know. All right, this will all be recorded.
Billion followers, bro. 8 billion followers.
All right, we're gonna go there. Have a great rest of your day, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.